Như ơi, tắt giùm chị đi Như.
Tìm kiếm khách hàng tiềm năng trên internet dễ thế mà sao nhiều người cứ khó khăn loay hoay mãi nhỉ?
Như ơi.
Bởi vì chồng có cách làm rồi, chồng có phương pháp rồi thì chồng...
Như ơi, tắt share screen đi em. Như ơi. Như ơi. Như ơi. Okay. Right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon,
Mic chị
Susan.
bị lỗi rồi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Right.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. Right. So welcome everyone to the webinar 24 of the Knowledge Bridge Network. My name is Đức Phan from RMIT University. Is also the founder and managing director of the network. Right. I would like to introduce to you Dr. Susan Whittaker, from former from University of Bristol. West
Cardiff.
Yeah, former, yes.
Cardiff.
Yeah, and now it's Cardiff University in UK. So it's right. It's wonderful that we are on here, like in 3 cities, 3 regions. You are from Europe, I'm from Australia, and most of the audience here are from Vietnam. Right. So just give me a second. I think I just turn up on my phone. Right. So today, Dr. Susan Whittaker will sharing with us her wonderful products, audit simulation, that I have a privileges to use it for my teaching at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia. Right. I have used it for a number of years, right? How many years? I think 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. So definitely you are able to access to the audit simulation with no problem, Susan. If there is any problem, I'm here. I'm your, I can open and share screen for you and you just explain, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can start now. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe can I just speak Vietnamese a little?
Yes. Yeah.
Just in case for my audience. Yeah. Right. Chào tất cả các bạn. Rồi chắc là các bạn đã quen với Đức rồi đúng không? Thì hôm nay Đức có vinh hạnh là được mời đến đây là cô Susan Whittaker, là trưởng bộ môn kiểm toán tại trường Đại học Cardiff ở nước Anh. Thì Đức có sử dụng cái gọi là phần mềm mô phỏng kiểm toán của cô Susan cũng được 3 năm ở tại RMIT Melbourne. Thì hôm nay Đức với cô Susan sẽ trò chuyện với các bạn theo cái format là 2 phần. Phần thứ nhất là cô Susan, chúng ta giả bộ là chúng ta là sinh viên, chúng ta sẽ học mô phỏng kế toán ha. Đức biết là có nhiều anh chị ở đây có thể là giáo viên, là thầy cô, nhưng mà mình sẽ học như là sinh viên. Rồi sau đó cái phần thứ hai á, thì mình sẽ trò chuyện, lúc đó mình quay trở lại cái vai trò là mình là giáo viên, và lúc đó các anh chị các thầy cô sẽ có cái phần Q&A để hỏi và để thảo luận những cái câu hỏi làm thế nào để sử dụng cái phần mềm mô phỏng kế toán này. Thực ra nó không gọi là phần mềm, nó là một cái web app thì đúng hơn, để cho trong việc giảng dạy ha. Right. Right, Susan, I just explained to them in Vietnamese that today we will have 2 sections. The first section, we will be like your student. We're pretending student, right? So you will be the teacher and we are in the classroom, we're learning. Today we have the auditing class and we're learning audit simulation with you. And that is the first part, about like 1 hour. And the second part, we come back to our position as a teacher, as a facilitator, and we can, have a Q&A, a discussion, how we can best use the audit simulation in our learning and teaching. Right.
Okay.
Right. So the floor is yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shall we see if we can share the screen?
Definitely you can share, right?
Yeah, I can't share. It said I'm disabled.
No, you can because you are co-host now.
It says host disabled.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that I gave you co-host before. Right, you should
Yeah.
be able to now.
Oh, right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, here we are. Okay. Yeah, just a minute. I probably should just go out of this a minute and just be sure that I've shared the sound on it. Okay. Okay. I hope everyone can see the can everyone see the what I'm sharing? Are you okay? Can you see what I'm doing? Are you okay?
Yes, we see your screen. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted to say was the audit simulation, really what it's supposed to be is a very small audit of a small company. And what I wanted to do with this was, when I was doing my PhD, my doctoral study, I was looking at teaching auditing. What I found, I interviewed 15 people who taught auditing at various universities across the UK. And what we found was, for students who have never worked, this is quite a difficult subject to teach. Now, maybe in the second hour, you can tell me about your experiences. But when I started to teach auditing, I had a textbook and I was giving lectures and I was doing it in a very traditional way. But what I found was that the students didn't really know what I was taught and understand it. So I remember one day speaking to them and I asked them what they were visualizing as I spoke. And what they said was nothing, because they couldn't understand what an audit was. So I was trying to find out ways that I could become a better teacher. And during my doctoral studies, and when I interviewed 15 other people at different universities, I found that they were suffering from the same thing. So what I thought it'd be interesting to do is to design an audit that students could do in the class, which can supplement what you know, your textbook. And so I designed that side of it, and my colleague, who isn't here today, Glenn Duckworth, he did the IT side. So what we have is we have a company called Sheridan AV. And Sheridan AV, if hopefully this will work. Can you see this? Sheridan AV is a company that does it does record players, video equipment, etc. And it's sound and vision for the home cinema. And what we do, we audit this company during the course. Now, there's a number of ways that you can go about doing that, which I'll explain as we go along. And David Sheridan is the managing director of this company. Now, what we did, we have had the audit simulation for about 9 years now, but last summer we filmed it with real actors. So we now have the parts of the people at the company are played in here by real people. So David Sheridan is the managing director. And here we've got all about the company, how it was founded, and how David Sheridan is the son of the founder, and he took over from his father. So they have a wholesale and a retail division. And we have all the products on here, which you can see how much they are and what you can buy. How to purchase, you can call Daisy to purchase, and how to make orders. So students can look at this and they can see the website for the company. So that's the company that you're going to audit. Now, I'm not sure, let me see if I can get out of here. Without, I might have to stop sharing and share again. I think, can you still see everything? Can everyone see? Hi.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, you can. Oh, good. Right, so I've shown you their website, and we also have on here the staff structure. So what we have is all the employees at the company, the roles that they do within the company, so that students can start thinking about the controls there, the control environment. So they've got David Sheridan is the managing director. There's a finance director, sales director, and David's wife is the company secretary. And then we've also got all of the staff who work there. And what we also have on here is we have a little bio for each of the people, so students can read about them. Like this is David Sheridan. He's been running the business for the last 16 years, having taken over from his father, who retired due to ill health. He's the majority shareholder. So all the characters, the students can read about them, background to them. And everything that we have on here also has a written version if students don't want to just listen to the audio. So here are all the characters, all the people who work for the company. So what we have now is you will work, your students will work for Alex Gold. And they are a firm of accountants, and they're going to do the audit. So the students will be their audit team work for Alex Gold. So the audit partner is the leader, and that's Billy Bromas. And the audit manager is Graham Moore. And then we have an auditor. But then your students will be also members of the team. So you can put them in a team to do work. So here's a message from the manager.
Hello there. I'm Graham Moore, the audit manager and your team leader. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person to welcome you to the audit team. I've been called away on urgent business, but I know you're in capable hands with the rest of the team. I'll be checking in from time to time to see how you're getting on, and I'll pass on tasks to complete during the audit process. You'll be auditing a company called Sheridan Audio Visual Limited. It's the first time they've had to go through the audit process, so be warned, Some of the staff are a bit wary about it. We've already done some work and I've interviewed some key staff. I've recorded these interviews and you'll need to take a closer look at these. Our audit team colleague, Lucas Johnson, has been looking into processes and procedures at Sheridan AV. He will present his findings to you. I've requested certain documents to be sent over to us. I'll pass these on to you when you need them. Can I suggest as a first task you get to know the company, who the key staff are, what they do, how they operate, and so on. I look forward to seeing you soon and reviewing your notes. Good luck with the assignment and speak to you soon.
So under every video, we also have a written transcript so students can read it as well as play the video. So what you can do is you can either use this as background to your lectures or to help illustrate your lectures, or you can use it to have part of the assessment on. Now, I always use it and I assess students on it because we have them do a presentation about their work involved with this simulation. And we usually do that to a firm of accountants who send somebody in to listen to them. So let me show you this. This is their virtual desk. So we have, they can start, there's a task where they can think about the reasons for doing an audit, but then we have it into three. There's the planning visit, an interim visit where they look at sales, purchasing and payroll, and then their final visit where they're actually looking at the accounts themselves. If we start with the planning visit, for each visit, I've put a task on here that you can give to your students if you wish, but it's up to you what you do with it. It's how you want to use it. So we've got the documents here. So what we have, we've got a number of interviews on here, and it's to help students, first of all, get a feeling about what happens on an audit. It's to help them see what happens first. So we have a pre-meeting, and I'll just play that for you.
Can you turn off something pop up on your screen, Susan? On the top of your screen, there is like something pop up.
Briefing meeting about the
Sorry. Oh.
Next to the auditor pre-meeting, can you just close the
finance director and Rosie Hendricks, the accountant?
Oh, you want this big?
I am familiar with Sheridan as
No,
I've
when
prepared their
something
accounts,
pop up
but
on your
this is the
screen
first
and
time
you are
we'll be
sharing
involved in
screen,
an
yeah,
audit.
perfect.
I was a bit
No,
surprised.
I don't know how to do
private
that.
company and their
That's
turnover
okay.
was always below the threshold for
How do I
statutory
do
audit.
that?
So I
No,
talked David
there
Sheridan
is
into an
something
audit
like, you know,
when he
pop
rang me
up
a
on
couple
your
of months ago
screen,
with
like
a
the
query.
notification or so. Can you just
Now
turn
he told me
off
that Sheridan
everything?
had double.
How do I do that?
You know, next
It's
to
on my, I'm at home on my laptop. I don't know how to do it. What do I do?
how should I explain? You know, on the screen now, sometimes you have notification. So
Yeah.
from your side, it is the text is got something, but from the audience side, it is totally a black things, a black box, a black square, and you know,
You
so
can't see the video.
I can
Can
see
you
the
see
video.
the, yeah.
I can see the video, but you know, if something is popping up, then it block the video. They block part of the video. So will you be able to turn it off now? Some notification on your screen. There is on the top, on the forehead of the lady.
Yeah, how do I do that?
Just turn it
Oh,
off.
that's
Just close it. Yeah.
How do I do that? I don't know how to
It's
do
okay. Right, keep going.
I have no idea how to do
Now,
that.
see, now there is something on your screen. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Yes,
how do I
that's
do
one.
it?
Close it. Can you close it?
And after discussing the share.
All right, keep going. We can live with that. Rồi. Yeah. Mọi người chịu khó nha, Đức nói mà cô không hiểu, thành ra là cô không có tắt được mấy cái notification đó. Just keep going, Susan. Yes.
Okay.
Holders is considering listing Sheridan on the stock exchange for the AIM market. Now, I felt although their turnover was below the statutory threshold, they should consider an audit in advance of their upcoming application.
Great. An audit will help to highlight areas they would need to address in advance of a listing on the stock exchange.
The only thing is, David Sheridan is a bit concerned about the increase in cost. So, it's a good reason we're meeting with him today and to discuss the benefits that will come from having an audit.
And what about Rosie? As you know, in the past, we prepared the accounts for Sheridan AV. This will be the first time that she'll have to do it by herself.
Now, I understand she is a bit nervous. Again, another great reason we're meeting with them today, put their minds at rest about the upcoming audit and also about the benefits of an audit.
What time are we meeting them?
At 2 p.m. in this room, so they should be with us in a few minutes.
Okay, so what we have there is we have they're explaining why they're doing the audit. We then have an initial meeting with the auditors and the staff, so you can see, the students can see why they're doing the audit. So I'll just quickly play that for you as well.
Hello David, James and Rosie, welcome to the meeting. How are you all?
Very well, thank you.
I must say I'm impressed by the new warehouse building. Are you fully moved in yet?
Oh yes, hello Billy, Graham. Yes, as you know, we bought the warehouse last autumn and we're just about moved in now. And there are offices there, and James and a few others have moved in. It's made a big difference to the amount of stock that we can store, so far we feel it's been a good investment. Now, we are excited about this idea of applying for a listing on the stock exchange. However, Billy, you have got me a little worried with the big increase to our accounting bill for this audit you suggested. I really don't know if it's needed.
I know that once we're listed on the stock exchange, this gives us access to public funds and we will become a public limited company, or PLC. A PLC has to be audited every year. That's a statutory requirement. However, I have been checking the requirements for listing on the alternative investment market, AIM, and I found out the following. The listing requirements on the alternative investment market, AIM, of the London Stock Exchange, LSE, are non-prescriptive. There is no minimum public float, no minimum initial equity, no minimum market capitalisation, and no minimum level of profitability. In fact, a company does not even have to have a trading, i.e. operating history, in order to list on London's AIM. Although if this is the case, there will be a mandatory 1-year post-initial public offering, IPO, lock-up for certain of the company's existing shareholders. So it's not needed. I'm just concerned that it'll be a waste of money at this stage, especially if we're not successful in our listing application. I mean, also, what will an audit tell us? We're a small company. We're all friends. We all trust each other. You know, what's the point?
Yes, and it will mean I have to prepare the accounts, which I've not done before. It's quite stressful. I much preferred it when you did the accounts, Graham.
I can see you all have concerns about the audit. Let me address each of your concerns. First, I feel that added cost is justified for reasons I'll set out below. Audited statements, they basically provide added assurance to potential investors regarding the financial performance of Sheridan. The fact that I, a partner in Alex Gold, an independent firm of accountants, will give an opinion on your financial statements should give investors peace of mind that they're free from material error and give a fair and true view. This should actually encourage them to invest. Okay? The audit should also highlight any weaknesses in your internal control system. Now, I know you've worked together a long time and you're a small company, but you will actually be required to provide an internal control system under the Code of Corporate Governance before you list. Okay. Now's a good time to review it, just to check for any weaknesses, you know. We have a lot of experience in reviewing internal control systems, so our advice can help provide practical ideas for improvement. Now, I realise, Rosie, you'll have to prepare the accounts, but, you know, our audit will help provide assurance that transactions, particularly complicated transactions, are, you know, recorded in accordance with applicable law and accounting standards. I believe you'll find the benefit of an audit before you list. You know, the benefits definitely outweigh the cost.
Well, I can see that although an audit is not required for a listing, there are some real benefits, so you should go ahead. Do you have a time frame for the audit visits?
Your financial year ends on 31st of March, so we will come in January to meet with you to do our audit planning. We will return in February to conduct an interim audit where we will look at the systems that record your accounting transactions, sales, purchases and payroll. You will then prepare the accounts in April and we will return in May to test the balances in these accounts. We should be able to issue our opinion by the end of May. I'll send Rosie an email with these dates in and please could she let the staff know when to expect us.
Yes, I can pass the message on to the staff. They have never worked with auditors before, so it will be a big change for them. I think it might be a good idea, James, if you and I had a briefing meeting with them before the audit is due, just to let them know what to expect. I have been audited before when I worked at Carlton's PLC, and you have worked as an auditor.
Sounds like a good idea, Rosie. We should do that.
Great, we'll keep you brief from now.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for meeting with us today. We'll talk to you again soon. I need to sign an engagement letter which sets out the expectations of both of us for the audit. It will act like a contract for the purpose of the audit. I'll email a copy of the engagement letter to you, David, after the meeting.
Thank you. We hope the audit brings up some interesting points.
Okay, so what you can do is you can play that and you can put an audit into perspective for them about why an audit is needed, and also you know, talk about the process, the time scale of an audit. So we've also got on here a directors meeting, and we've got the minutes which the students can use to look for risks, to look for things they may need in their audit. But we also have interviews with the directors on here, and the students can use these to look for risks. So when you're doing your planning stage and you're looking for risks, these are good training for them to find risks in a scenario. And the way we used to do this is we used to have a partner come in from an accounting firm, come into the university, and he would have Sheridan set up on his laptop as a client. And then we play these interviews and the students would look for risks. And then he would put it into his planning documentation on his laptop. So what you can do, you can go over the theory behind it, audit risk, and then you can have them look for risks in these interviews. Now, obviously, I'm not going to play them all, but this is one with the finance director. So I'll just play this for you.
Oh, hi Graham. No problems finding me stuck in this outpost then?
Yes, David told me you'd moved down to the new building. Nice office though.
What do you think? Well, I suppose it's quiet and I don't get bothered with too many questions from the accounts staff. So, what can I help you with today?
I just had a few questions for you regarding the upcoming audit. Shouldn't take too long. You happy to go through them today?
Yeah, fire away.
Okay, I understand that a bonus scheme has been introduced this year for David, Emily and Leanne. Is this contingent on meeting sales targets?
Yeah, most definitely for David and Emily. With regards to Leanne, Let me think. Well, she's not actively involved in sales, so perhaps you should just talk to her.
And Harry Washburn, the sales manager, is he involved?
No, it's just David, Emily and Leanne at the moment.
Who sets the sales targets?
Emily and David, I believe.
Okay. Do you feel the targets set high expectations, or are they unduly aggressive?
No, I think they're quite aggressive. Yeah, I think so. You know, puts them under a bit of pressure, but seems to be working. I mean, have you seen the increased takeover this year?
Very impressive. Do you have copies of paperwork showing how the bonus is calculated?
Not exactly. Actually, I think you'll find them in the minutes of the last directors' meeting. Yeah, because David put it all together himself. Yeah. I trust David 100% to do the right thing. You know, this is his company.
Okay, well, thanks for that information. I understand you're considering buying a dedicated accounting program to put together draft accounts for you.
Well, yes. I mean, the system we're using at present is so old-fashioned. I mean, we use Excel and Microsoft Office software on the computer to put together the accounts. I think an integrated program is just going to make things so much easier.
So do you say there's scope for error in the current way of doing things?
No, not really. I mean, it's been working for years. Don't get me wrong, the Office suite, it's a great product, but I personally, I just don't think it's the right tool for the job here. And the staff, they find the current system so tedious to use. So hopefully we'll have a new system in place when you come next.
Fine. Speaking of staff, is it possible for my staff to have access to all of your staff and records?
Yeah, that's fine. It's perfectly fine, yeah.
Perfect. Is there anything else you feel we should know in advance of the audit?
Yeah, well, I think we're lucky being a private limited company, as I've heard that Genova Audio PLC has carried out a number of hostile takeovers of PLCs. I mean, the fact that this can happen is something to think about if we're going to list on the stock exchange.
Yes, I had heard of Genova Audio PLC. I'll look further into their takeovers to see if you're at risk. Well, thank you for your time today.
No, you're welcome.
So we have interviews with all the directors, with Rosie Hendricks, who's the accountant. And underneath each one, we have a transcript. So if the students want to read about it, if they find that it goes too quickly with the the oral part, they can come back and they can read that. So what they should be able to do after doing this is put together a list of risks for the audit. So we also have telephone conversations, one's with a lady, Margaret Blake, that wasn't planned, and also with the company secretary. So these are some, so what we also have is, we have for the planning visit, we have got forms that they can fill in, checklists of potential risks, and also to look at the control environment. So as you can see, the control environment is very laid back, I think is the expression. It's not very formal, is the control environment. So the students can assess that. There's also an internal memo that Graham Moore did on the control environment. Now, we've also done draft 9 months accounts. So what the students can do is go into these accounts and do some analytical review. So obviously what they have to do for the income statement is they have to gross it up to 12 months. And they have here the statement of financial position as well, so that they can compare year on year, and they can start to look at where there are changes. And obviously a big change is in non-current assets. And if you go down to the notes, you can see there's a property been added. And as you listen to the interviews, you'll find that that is the warehouse that they bought, the additional warehouse during the year. So students can go through and do some analytical review, and they can link that back to the risks as well. We also have the minutes of the meetings, and one of the meetings we have the video for. So here are the directors' meetings, and we also, as you can see, it mentions the warehouse, and it also mentions that they're doing very well, that they're doubling their turnover. And then also a lady is tripped in the store. So there's quite a number of things you can do at the planning stage. Now, we do have a task on this that students can do, where they first write an engagement letter, and then they go on to do risk, control environment, analytical review, looking at the business itself, and then they can do also materiality. Because I found that materiality was very difficult to explain to students who haven't worked, but they can come up with their own materiality for their own audit. So I don't know, what we'll do, we'll move on, and then I guess that we have questions at the end of the session. So that was the planning. And then we have the interim visit. So what we have for the interim visit is we have walkthroughs. So we have presentations. So what I'll do, I'll just play you the credit process if a customer wants credit. So if it's a sale, we have all of the sales process, but that's quite long to play. But then we have a separate video for if the customer wants credit, and I'll just play that for you so you can see what that is.
I have covered the basics of the sales process in a separate video message. Now here I'll describe what I found out about the customer credit processes. If the customer does require credit, then the following steps are taken. First of all, relating to new customers. When Daisy receives a credit inquiry from a new customer, she sends a credit request form to them. The customer completes the form and returns it to Daisy. Now here's an example credit request form. The customer needs to provide information on customer details such as name, VAT number and contact details, the customer's bank details, contact details for 2 credit references, and the amount of credit requested. Now please note there is also an area at the bottom of the form for Sheridan staff. This is where they can sign to authorise credit if it is accepted. Daisy then follows up by obtaining the 2 credit references. She then forwards the form and the references to the sales manager, Harry Washburn. Harry will decide whether or not to grant credit to the new customer. Harry usually makes a decision within 24 hours. He decides on a credit limit for the customer based on the references obtained. If he authorises credit, and if the amount is less than £1,000, he passes the form back to Daisy, who contacts the customer to place an order. If the amount is greater than £1,000, or Harry refuses the customer credit, he sends the form to Rosie Hendricks. Rosie may do more follow-up at this stage. For example, she may go online to see a copy of the latest published accounts for a limited company. If she's satisfied with the findings, she will authorise Harry's decision. Rosie then sends the authorised form to Daisy, who contacts the customer to place an order. I talked briefly with Harry about the credit authorisation. He said, and I quote, "I am usually very prudent about granting credit. 99% of the time, Rosie agrees with my decisions. In the unlikely event..."
Now, I just wanted to stop it there because we have some things in these that students need to think about. So, for example, Harry Washburn is the sales manager. Now, he shouldn't really be granting credit. It should be a separate person giving the credit. So what we have, and I'll show you it after this, we have a form where the students can go through to see what controls are present. So we don't have every control in these videos. There are some weaknesses as well as controls for them to find.
If we disagree, then she will ring me and request a meeting. If we could not agree at this meeting, then the case would be referred to James Clark, the finance director. However, in practice, this would very rarely happen. Moving on to ongoing credit for existing customers. When an existing customer places an order on credit, Daisy first checks the customer balance on the sales ledger. She then checks this balance against the listing of credit limits for each customer. Now, Daisy can do this while talking to a customer on the phone. Here's a sample of Sheridan AV's customer credit limit listings. It includes the name of the customer and the credit limit that has already been agreed. If the new order takes the balance to within 90% of the credit limit, then Daisy informs the customer, either over the phone or by email or online, that the order will have to be approved by Harry Washburn, the sales manager. When an order is referred to Harry, he makes a decision as to whether or not to raise the customer's credit limit. Harry says, "If it is a good customer who has not defaulted in the past, then I would raise the credit limit. I don't have any strict rules. I look at each case individually." Harry's decision is recorded in writing, and Daisy attaches it to the initial inquiry form.
Okay, so what we have then, we have videos like that for the sales process, for when cash receipts, credit process, and also for the age debtor analysis, which we felt students needed more examples on. Now, we also have, an internal control questionnaire. Oh, I'm just going to see if you'll be able to see this. Can you see this? You can't see it, no. What we have is we have a form that which is here, and it's like an internal control questionnaire with controls you would expect to find in this system, and students can go through and check if they're there, and if they're not, then they can write about weaknesses. So you can either use this as to illustrate your lecture, or you can use it to give them an assignment where they look at a sales system and maybe assess them on it, do a presentation or a coursework. So it's very flexible. You can use it in whatever way you feel is best. Now we have the same videos for the purchasing system and also for payroll. So we usually spend time at the interim audit, and usually what we do is I would do one, say I might do the payroll with them in their seminar, and then I'd ask them to do sales or the other way around. And it's also good practice for exams, finding controls and being able to make recommendations if there are weaknesses, for example. So then the third bit is the final visit, when they go to actually do the substantive testing at year end. Now, what we have here are, these are the headings: receivables, non-current assets, payables, inventory, cash, and post-balance sheet events. Now, what we have done with this in the past is, what we've had is, we have an afternoon in England, in the UK, where we call it sports day, where there aren't any classes. So we would use that time and we would invite in a local accounting firm, and we would invite new auditors to come in, people who've been there maybe a couple of years. And the students will do their audit. Now, it's going to be quite, I think it might be more difficult to show you this. I'll have to stop the share and come back in, I think, to show you the this. So let me just do this, and then I'll come back in. So if I come back, can everybody see that? Can everybody see this? Trade receivables. Yeah? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So what we have is, we have an audit program for receivables. And we have one of these for each of the headings. And what we say is, trade receivables are shown as current assets. And substantive testing should be carried out for the following assertions: presentation and disclosure, classification and valuation, rights and obligations, completeness and cutoff, existence and occurrence. So then we have presentation and disclosure, what the audit objectives are, and tests that the students can do. So here we're saying they can perform analytical procedures, check opening balances to previous year, obtain the age balance, list of balance, and do tests on it. So also, is there an allowance for bad debt showing up? Is it appropriateness of any disclosure? We also have valuation. So we're going to vouch from the list of trade receivables to supplier invoices, etc. And then there's tests for bad and doubtful debts. And then there are cut-off tests that they would do. So it's going through, and also a receivable circularization that they can do. And we set out how to carry out a circularization, and we show them how to do that, and what to do with unsatisfactory results. So they have an audit program to follow, and then I'll just share again. Here we are. And then we have all the that they need. So we've got the accounts here for the current year. So they can go down to what they can see is the statement of financial position, and they can see note 3 is trade receivables. So it's 884,983. So they can see the receivables. Sorry, let's go back in. And then we have a list, we have an aging report here. And the aging report adds up. So we've got the wholesale sales, retail sales. So if we add them both together and we take away the amount over 90 days, we get back to the amount that's on the statement of financial position. So the students can see how the balance is made up. These are all the retail sales, and they're shown how current they are, and the wholesale. So the students can go now, we have invoices for all of these, and they can go and trace from the statement of financial position back to the individual invoice. So here are the invoices. So they can do this testing. What I want to say is that all of these companies are the names for them. All of these invoices were put together by a Malaysian student that was in Bristol when we were doing this. And she actually came up with the names of these companies, which I think is brilliant. So all of these companies, we have an invoice for. So we also have a bad debt provision that you can see, students can see on here. We have also, I used to found it quite hard to understand the circularization. So here we have one that's been done for them to look at. So here we've written to these people. So we've written to, which one's this one? Temple Head. So here's the letter. And then they're saying, we show this balance. And they're saying they didn't owe it. They paid it before year end. So the students need to go and look at the cash receipts to see if it was paid. So they can do that. Now we also have, let me just find it now, goods dispatch note. Right, so what they should be able to see here is that the Great Dragon, customer name the Great Dragon, they were delivered these headphones on the 29th. They received them and signed to say they'd been received on the 29th of March. And the year end is the 31st. So that should be included in the current year. Now, that one wasn't received until the 3rd of April, so is outside. So this first one should be included within the invoices. So if we have a look at the invoices, it's John Doe, Best Sounds. There is the Great Dragon. And as you can see, they didn't invoice it until the 3rd of April. So that is an error that needs to be corrected. So you can explain to students about cut-off. So what else have we got here? We also have the sales orders. We've got credit notes post cut-off to have a look at, and for prepayments. So the students can work through the program, and all of the documents that they need are there. And that is true for receivables, non-current assets, payables. Now, inventory, what we've done for inventory is we have on here a video of an inventory count so that the students can see that the auditor's role is to go and view it and to check what's going on, to check that they're following procedures, but not actually to do the count. So again, we've got an inventory program, and the students can write a report on the inventory count at the end of that. And again, we've got all the count sheets on here as well. So here are the showing where the counting. So I'll just start this because we have a minute or two. I'll just go through the beginning of this one with you, but not all of it.
I've recently visited Sheridan AV's headquarters. I wanted to talk to staff about their processes for the inventory count at year end, and also to observe their procedures and do some test counts myself. Here's what I found out. Monday the 30th of March. That's the day before the count. First of all, I talked to Rosie Hendricks. Here's what I found out from her. She told me that the inventory count was to take place the following day, on the 31st of March. On the 30th of March, the shop will close at 3 p.m. to get ready for the count. Between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. on the 30th of March, Sheridan AV staff will prepare the stock for counting, and the shop will remain closed on the 31st of March. The person in charge of the count is Peter Fillion, the warehouse and distribution manager. I arranged to meet Peter Fillion early next morning to discuss the procedures for the count. So it's Tuesday 31st of March, the day of the count. Early that morning I went to the warehouse to talk to Peter Fillion. He gave me a tour of the warehouse and the storeroom and told me about the arrangements.
As you can see, all areas of the warehouse and storeroom have been tidied up. I got the staff to do that yesterday. All our stock is neatly stacked, ready for the count. We have some stock in the retail shop, but most stock and raw materials are stored in the warehouse. There's also some in the storeroom. In the warehouse, we have different zones for different types of stock. In Zone 1, that's where we keep the speaker systems, the finished products we've made here and the ones we've brought in from other manufacturers. TVs and projectors are stored in Zone.
Okay, so I was just showing you that as an example of what that is. So basically what you can do is you can show this as an example of an inventory count and what the auditor's role in it is. And I think that should really help students to understand. So that's been what I've done. I've gone through with you the different parts of the audit simulation. The way that you may want to use it is entirely up to you. You can use it as little or as much as you need to or as you want to. But I find that the videos, they help to illustrate to students the concepts and ideas from the course. And of course, you know, you would supplement it with questions, exam questions, but I feel from my own experience that it does help them, especially if they haven't worked with concepts such as cut-off or materiality. So that was sort of what I wanted to say for now, and I feel I've talked such a lot. So over to you now, if you'd like to talk to me.
Oh, you mean we open for Q&A section now?
Yes, yes.
I see. Okay, all right. So, all right, everyone. So Susan has demonstrated how to use audit simulation, the what we call virtual realities, all right? Web-based application. Any questions, everyone? Feel free to ask. How many of you here are student and how many of you are teacher? How many of you here are teacher? I know that we have here some of the students from accounting and auditing faculty from number of university as well. So I wonder if, you know, we have, are you able to talk? I think so, yeah. The chat is open.
Yeah, or put in chat box.
Come on, we are only teacher. We're not like student in the online class. Okay, I can ask question. Susan, it's a good opportunity for me to ask you as well. So,
oh no, we can't send you the link at the moment. We can only send you a demo to it because we license it to universities.
Yeah.
So we don't actually have the link to send today, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes. Now maybe I don't know. Is it the question? Unless, you know, someone really keen on that topic, but I just want to ask general questions about how to make this one as an assignment, right? You know, so the way that I'm doing now is at first, a few semesters, I asked the student to watch a video and identify the inherent risk. There are control risk, audit risk, detection risk. But, you know, students are very smart, super smart. If you ask one semester in one cohort, I'm teaching both Melbourne and Singapore, immediately the next semester or in a couple of months, you see my assignment is available on those websites on internet, and a student with the subscription fee, or if they exchange things, they would be able to download the assignment. Right, so it keep me, I have to always change my questions, the assignment questions all the time. And sometimes I am able to think of the potential topic. So if you can, you know, propose a few ways to use the audit simulation, not only as a demonstration, but as the assessment, you know, assessment task, as the assignment.
Yeah, I mean, what we've done is we did it as a presentation this last year. So the students were in their audit team and they had to present on what we did was non-current assets. So they had to present the work they did on non-current assets. And we had a partner come in from an accounting firm, and he watched the presentation with me. So it was very beneficial for them to have that opportunity to present to somebody from outside the university. So I think that's another way you can do it, as well as, you know, give them like a coursework where they have to write something. And also you can ask them questions in the exam from the audit simulation. So it could be, you could give that scenario from the audit simulation, but ask them to come up with recommendations, or, you know, if it was the systems work.
So so I use this semester, I asked this, the assignment is for key audit matters, right? So the student is, you know, so during my video recording for the student, I don't mention anything about key audit matters, right? But, you know, I asked them if they are able to identify any key audit matters in this video, right? So that is one example how I use the audit simulation as an assessment task. Can you propose me a few other ways, please?
Well, yes, you can, as I say, you can, we use it in the exam. We use it as a presentation. We use it, you know, in the course, we can set a coursework on it. If it's a group coursework where they might look at the control environment, or they might, you know, look at some aspect of the audit. You can also ask them about materiality, for example, or you could ask them about some concepts, which is true and fair. You could ask them, what sort of audit report do you think they will get? That sort of thing. Now we have a question from Michelle. She says, can you suggest some teaching materials for auditing? Do you mean to supplement the audit simulation? Is that what that means?
I guess that if yes, you want text, you mean textbook, Michelle? We normally use, you know, you can use auditing standard. It's always, you know, is available. It's tricky, yes, but you know, if you use the appendix, I think that also are good options. Maybe if you ask for textbook, yeah.
We use Gray, Manson and Crawford, the audit process, as our textbook in the UK. I think depend on what auditing standard you want to follow, right? You know, like in Australia, I use the book is actually written by my head of department, Professor Robin Moroney. So it's the 4th edition. She wrote it together with I think with another academic and another audit partner from E&Y. So therefore, from my point of view, I found that book is easy to understand, and it's also, you know, more practical. I like that one, that text more. I like it before she was before. So I adopted that textbook before she is my head of department, or she's my boss. Yes. Yes. What do you mean ESP? I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe thank you very much for your presentation, and the organizers also give us a chance, to join us together.
Can you see your camera, Michelle?
Yes, maybe it's because of some problems, so I can't use my camera. So sorry for the inconvenience for this one. Because here at the university, so I'm teaching English for specific purposes. And my student is in the majors of accounting and auditing. So I would like to get some suggestion from you, like maybe some supplements material that we can use for English for specific purposes in this major. Yeah,
Sorry.
am I clear? Am I clear for this one? Yeah, maybe this is my question. That is, maybe this at the university, I'm teaching the student, yeah, in the fields of accounting and auditing, and I just teaching them like English, yeah, English for specific purposes in the fields of accounting and auditing. That is not, yeah, like the professional, yeah, subject, but this one is just for English for this major. So could you please give us some supplement material, or maybe some link that we can use, yeah, for our students?
Yeah. I mean, do you not feel you can use the audit simulation? That's what I used to teach.
Yes. So in Vietnam, we use this one. Can we use the audit, yeah, simulation like you have just mentioned in the presentation?
Mm-hmm. That's what I used to teach auditing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I see the point. Thank you.
I mean, really, it's very different, and it's not the way you traditionally teach. Traditional teaching is where the teacher comes in with a textbook and lectures the student, talks at them, and the student takes notes and does an exam. What we're doing here is called active learning. It's where the students learn by doing. So what they're doing is they're doing a practice audit. Now, obviously, it's not like an audit KPMG would do of a massive company. It's a very small company, and they are actually doing an audit of a company. So they're learning about auditing by the practice of it, by actually doing an audit. Now, our students on my course get exemptions from professional bodies. I don't know if yours do, like ACCA. Do you get ACCA? Because the questions that ACCA ask, and which we have to do something similar, are very much covered by what I've done with the simulation. Now, you can ask them to have a textbook to supplement it, and I do lectures to supplement it, but the main part of the learning is them actually doing an audit, and they learn teamwork through that. They learn about presentation skills. They learn about analytical skills. So there's a lot of skills that they are learning while they're doing the simulation, but it is probably completely different to maybe how you've taught before. It is a completely new approach, I think, a different approach. What do you think, Doc? Do you think it's
Susan, can I ask questions about using ACCA material or using the past exam of ACCA? Is it okay? You think that, you know, is it like, you know, ACCA is happy for us? Do we need to like, is it copyright issues? And do we need to write to them and ask for permission or not?
I think if you're going to use their material, you would have to. That would be copyright. But if you want to change their questions a little bit, that's fine, you know, for your own use. But you're asking me what I would advise, how I would advise you to teach, but I've just spent an hour. That's how I teach, and it's just different. So it's kind of a different way to teach, and it's not really about standing at the front of the class and telling the students this is it. It's about being a facilitator where you're more asking them to find out for themselves, and it is a different approach. Now, that's how you can use it. Now, you can use it as well to illustrate what you're talking about. So if you're talking about systems work, if you're talking about, for example, a sales system, you can show them the videos from the audit simulation to show them a sales system and all the documents that are in that, involved in that. And to me, it's my students, when I was at the University West of England, before I used a simulation, our pass rate wasn't very good. But when I used the simulation to teach, it went up to 90% because the students could see more and they could understand more. So the whole purpose of a simulation is to get them to think about it, to get them to do the work.
What is the structure of your class? Because how many minutes or how many hours do you allocate for audit sim?
Yeah, we have an hour, which is a lecture, but we have 2 hours a week where they work themselves to develop their own knowledge. So
you mean
the
tutorial?
My role wouldn't be to just stand there and say, this is the answer, this is the answer. They have to find the answer themselves. So we would have, at one stage, we've had a partner from Grant Thornton. I think they're in Australia. Yeah. He came in and the students were looking for risks. So we played the interviews. The students came up with risks, and then he put those risks into his software. So we've done an exercise like that. For final accounts, where they're doing substantive testing, we've had them do the testing with the audit program, but we've had auditors come in and help them with it. So we are talking about turning teaching round here. And my PhD thesis was about that. That's what I did my PhD on, about changing teaching from traditional telling students to this more involved way, getting them involved. Now, if you haven't taught like that before, it's quite a new way to teach. It's very different. But I think the students at first, they might, I don't want to do this, I don't want to. But then they find if they've discovered it for themselves, they're more apt to understand it and be able to write an exam on it.
Okay, I have another suggestion. If you don't have all the materials, you actually can use the research paper, auditing research paper to teach, because some auditing paper, they're practical, and I used that in last semester and this semester. So so we have 3 hours class. But now, because of COVID, so we changed the lecture, the 1 hour lecture, become the pre-recorded video. So it's the online one. And the 2 hour, we call it tutorial. It's similar to you, Susan. That is student in a small group. So I allocate 30 minutes each class for student presentation. So
and that's good, because
so
I think
the research paper for them, and each they will read the paper and they will teach the student as well, and they teach us and we ask questions. Yes, I thought that's fun.
So how do people feel about working with the simulation? People who've seen, I've just presented it. How do you feel about, I know Duck has worked with it for a number of years. How would anybody else feel about working with it?
Is there anyone interested to obtain the license to teach in Vietnam? How many of you here are, can you raise the hand if you're teaching auditing in your university? How many of you here teaching auditing in your university? Anyone? You too shy to say, come on. And how many of you are practitioner? Hey, you know, I guess that most of that, if you look at, if it is from Australia, it's probably from my student. And that was, and that was their, I know, and that was their, you know, the student assignment from the previous semester. Now, you know, you you can use that. I can't stop you, but you know, I have to say that, you know, from my point of view, it's not necessarily correct because it is from student, and they the way that they put it, because they want to exchange for the assignment of another student, right? And that's what in Australia we call it contract cheating, right? You know, they exchange and sometimes they actually sell. So they either exchange or they sell it, right? So you if you want to use, right, you know, it's free for it's sure, but you have to use it with very careful and be cautious, because they are not necessarily correct. It's not written by the expert, it is written by the student.
Yeah, I wouldn't use them, definitely. But if you don't want to use it as the way I use it, you can still use it to illustrate points, can't you? Concepts.
Yeah, I will make demonstration later. I use Caseware as an audit software to teach in Australia, but you know, yeah, if unless Susan want to see, do you want me to show you? Do you know?
Well, I mean, I've just demonstrated my software for you. For an hour. That is my software.
No, software is different, Susan. Software is like, you know, it's like the document software. So where the student will, you know, like where the auditor will store or prepare the audit working paper. Your one is more like, you know, the simulation with, you know, the scenario.
So can you demonstrate some software for auditing? So what do you mean?
No, they asking software. So, you know, like can you tell us in UK what audit software? You know, what kind of application that so how the auditor document their work in UK?
Yeah, I mean, I work as a lecturer at a university. You would need to, I mean, I came to, you know, show my simulation. I mean, I don't know what they use at KPMG, or I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I'm sorry.
How about do you know any other software that used by the smaller firm like mid-tier in UK?
Yeah, I mean, no.
Okay. How many of you here actually the teacher, the staff? Or how many of you here are what we call practitioner or student? And if you are a student, so can we have in the chat some of your introduction, like, you know, like who you are, where you're from, are you a student? If you're a student, what year you are, what major you are, and then if you know, why you interested in this in this topic, or why you are interested in auditing, what you want to learn about audit or so. Can I please have some of the, you know, introduction, please?
I guess it's late on Friday evening. People.
No, I guess that they're shy. So they're shy. So do you feel that you so shy to put in the chat? Then you can private chat to me, and I'm just I'm just read out, but without telling who you are. Is it okay? So everyone, you can chat private to me or private to Susan if you not feel comfortable to chat to everyone.
I do know that the big companies, KPMG, have a similar simulation that they use to train their new trainees when you join. So I do know that, but I don't know about it. And that Grant Thornton have been quite involved with our simulation. They also have one. So,
Susan,
yeah.
I guess that this question is practical. Now, during COVID years, in the last 2 years, there is no exam, no face-to-face exam.
No.
What kind of assessment tasks did you use for your student?
We did the same exam that we've always done, but ACCA said we had to go back to doing it in a room as soon as possible. So this year we are now back doing it in a room, as we always have done.
So what did you use before? Is it
Just what we always did. Same exam that we always did.
But if you have the same exam, but you didn't have what we call face-to-face or sitting exam because of COVID, because of lockdown,
yeah.
Then the student do it home and they submit to you online.
Yeah.
Then so this like open book exam.
Well, it was supposed to be closed book, but
yeah. Okay, so like during COVID, it's become like open book exam.
Well, it wasn't. It was they had to sign to say they didn't open their book.
But did you really monitor their screen? Did you really monitor the time?
Well, we had one who did do an exam, who was doing a resit, and we did do that. We did monitor him. We watched him.
So how, I mean, during the COVID trial now, like we are teaching online and student is like still overseas. Like I have students, like in China, in Vietnam, in Indonesia. And then, how do we have invigilated exam?
Oh, we did. Well, we didn't, not during the lockdown, but we do now. This last year for auditing, it's been invigilated and in a room. And the students have had to write their answers.
Yeah.
Because ACCA wouldn't accept it anymore.
Oh, okay.
But during the lockdown, they had to accept it. But they would not accept it this last year.
Yeah.
So the exams they did this last year.
So
how about your students?
Yeah, so I mean, so I'm just interested, during the lockdown time, during the time that everyone had to study online and you teach online 100%, what were your assessment?
The same, what we always did.
So how did the student do the work? So they did on their computer and
we had Zoom workshops, and then they submitted their exam online.
Yes, so like so you are doing like me now. You ask them to turn on the camera, and then you think that they won't open another like Google. they can open easily. You think that.
Well, that's why ACCA won't accept it anymore.
Yeah.
So they haven't done it like that for over a year now.
Maybe we ask our college in Vietnam, what did
what are they doing?
What did you do during the COVID year? How did you do the invigilated assessment? Michelle or Minh or Nhật, any of you here? Or Asia Dow, as the student, what did you do? Các bạn thi kiểu nào? Trong mùa Covid á, mà thi á, thì thi kiểu nào? Thi mà thi đề đóng đề mở. You know, I'm struggle, not I'm struggle, but so we have the what we call online time assessment. And I know that because I won't be able to monitor them for the closed book. So then I say, okay, it's open book. Because if you stop them open, they still open anyway. Right? So, but you know, open book is fine. But the problem is during that, you know, online exam, you don't know if they are the person who actually wrote the exam, the answer. There may be someone who wrote it for them. Susan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, you know, like, you know, they have a friend or, you know, someone, they just send the questions immediately on the messenger, on chat or something. And then someone will be there, like they outsource the exam. And then how do we know? I have a trick. Actually, you know, that's how we have, but it's create more workload for us. So we do the assignment, but the student, so it's like 50% exam, it's 50% one, but we have 25% is oral interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the student face to face with me on, you know, on the online meeting, and then I just ask them the questions. I don't ask anything, but I just ask, you know, a few details in the exam paper, right, to make sure that the student who is the person who wrote the paper. All right. So if the student wrote the paper and the student answered the details, I give the student the full mark that they deserve. I mean, you know, whatever mark that the paper. But if they are unable to answer or, you know, answer not in the level, then, you know, they may even get 0. So it's what we call this oral interview. Yeah, but it's a bit hard. Yeah.
So someone from Tianyang University.
Tiền Giang is the Mekong Delta University.
Yeah. So how do you teach auditing? How does she teach auditing?
Mai, Trúc or Mai, will you be able to share how you teach auditing in your university and how you do your exam, how you do your assessment tasks? I would love to hear from everyone here, including the students. Please.
During the COVID, we held a segmented online teaching, and we must to have the online test for our student. And now we come back to school, and we have a traditional stats in the class.
So what kind of online test, and how did you do the test? How do you invigilate it? Invigilate, like, you know, supervise or check the student?
The student do online test, and they must choose A, B, C, or D, and about 60 minutes.
So that's the multiple choice.
Yes.
Okay. Just A, B, C, D. And so this, like, how do they do it? Do you use software, or do you use, or it's just like normal paper, or, you know, like Word document?
We on the teaching, we use books, and we use some practice situation in website to the student must to study from this situation and get a knowledge from audit.
Okay. So how do you submit? How do they submit the assignment on the test? Just like Word document or how?
Yes, Word document. And we almost use Vietnamese. So when Miss Susan present about the material, I think it's really essential and really good for me to research and make my lesson so good in the future.
And do you feel that the student, how do you feel about whether is it, you know, what we call is, how do you make sure that there is no plagiarism, and no cheating during that online exam?
Yes, of course, the online teaching, we have many problems, not face-to-face, not yeah, and when we mark, when we have the test is nó cũng không có bằng cái lớp học truyền thống của mình đó cô.
Yeah, so
Có
it's
nhiều
not
vấn
the
đề.
same.
Yes.
Hi, Miss Đức, can I say?
Sure. Yes. Can I see? Can I see you?
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, Miss Susan, Miss Đức, and everyone. I am Nguyễn Tố Tầm. I'm from Electric Power University. Yeah. I have some experience in with the test for students in COVID-19 period. In my university, we use give the student assignment. But when we give every student assignment, we spend many time to build a test for each situation, to examine exactly, and I think I checked and examine my student attitude and their integrity when they send me their assignments. Yeah. And I use do you know classroom
Classroom, you mean?
Yeah. And we follow and check my student submit their assignment, and when we give marks, I say my advice, my give some statement about their assignment, and I and another teacher give. Yeah. It's my experience in. I think not. I don't know exactly the, but I think it's it's a suitable test in the COVID-19 period, and help me and help students to ensure have marks, and they get some information and some information from tests and from my teaching materials.
So is professional bodies like CPA or ACCA,
Yeah.
do they allow you, or do they recognize those kinds of online tests or not?
Yeah. I think I use some ACCA material help me to give the test in scenario, help students to get information, and I recognize some outstanding students. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Tam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Susan, I have questions because I did use the ACCA material before for and then I found that because their solution are available on the internet. So if you so even you write a case a little bit different, but you can't, you don't, being honest, you wouldn't be able to write the full new case or, change everything from scratch, right? The student with the Google, with the way that the Google search now and with online exam, they just, put a part of the questions on the internet, and they would be able to get the solution immediately for that part. You mix a few, a few case study, a few exam together. How do you deal with it?
Well, we don't, because ACCA in the UK will not allow us to do online exams.
Oh,
so we are not doing online exams. Our exams are in an exam room, old-fashioned, where they have to write in a booklet.
Okay. Yes.
So that is what you're saying is why ACCA wouldn't allow it to go on any longer. When the government said we couldn't go out, in 2020, they had to let us do online exams. But now they don't allow it anymore. So, but your exams are still online in Australia.
I mean, for us, we're not allowed to have exam, or we're not recommended to have exam. So we have to do what they call is authentic assessment. So it have to be invigilated, but it's not exam. And it have to be something online, because it's all right. So with this year that the CPA Australia and the CPA Australia, and we don't have ACCA, but we have CAANZ, Charter Charter Accountant Australia and New Zealand. So they asked us to have invigilated 50%. And we have to explain to them how we invigilate the students.
Oh, I see.
Right. So for my scenario, as I mentioned, we have to do in class presentation. So you don't have to.
So you can see them do it.
Yes. So they have to present, right? And then I use your simulation as the group assignment, right, where they also have to present a video as a group, plus the written submission. So the presentation, the video presentation, or the in-class presentation, that's iconic as invigilated components. And the last one,
that's difficult. If you anything you said, they could Google it.
Yes. So I feel, like I feel during the what they call the online time assessment, we call it, like online exam. No matter, what we put, we don't feel confident on the answer of the student. we don't we feel that someone is doing
or doing it
student.
together.
Yeah. Or even they do together in a Google Doc, right?
Like WhatsApp, doing WhatsApp.
Yeah. So we talk about the way that we have to block the screen of the student, so the student needs to like have camera on, and like what you are now, so they need to be able to see the background, they need to see the table, right? But I feel that one is not it's not practical. So traditional old way is the way that you are applying now. All right, and yes, see, there is the one. Okay, here, sorry, one audience share with me privately, but I can please turn off your mic, please. Who is that? Hello. Let I see who's May. Okay. All right. So I just read out one of the chat. We had one of the teachers say we had some tests online by Google Form. The final exam we use the I test, I for ice cream, right? I test software. If we do the exam by documents, we use the CamScan software and change it to PDF file and then send to the link that the examiner give for us. Okay, so there are technologies there to use, right? All right. Any more sharing? Any more questions, everyone? We have 4 minutes left, yeah? So I have contact for Susan, right? So if any of you interested, yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
who's
Dung,
that?
and I'm Dung, and I come from Foreign Church University, and I want to ask a little bit more about the audit simulations you say. Yes. So I want to ask you how many scenario. Sorry, I have a try here. So can I turn off the camera?
Okay, I just want to see you. Okay.
I want to ask you about how many scenarios in this audit simulation.
Well, it's one scenario because it's about one company. It's
So
all
it's,
about Sheridan.
It is changed, so it is changed year by year. I mean that after 1 year we use this scenario, so the next years this scenarios is stay the same, and we use it.
Yeah, it's just an audit of a company. So the students, it's just to give them experience in actually doing some of the tasks that an auditor does. So when I marked the exam, the students who didn't do very well, they couldn't think what an auditor would be doing. So it's very important that they can see what they will be doing, because if you've got a financial accountant, they're preparing accounts, an auditor is checking them. So it's just to give them experience in doing a tiny audit of a small company. That's what the purpose of it is. So you can say to your students, well, what does an auditor do at this stage? And they can go and do the tests themselves. That's what the purpose of it is. The tests would always be the same. whether you did them, you know, whatever year. So that's what it's intended to do. Do you see? Yeah. To help them.
Okay, thank you. So how can we can use this software?
Yeah.
Simulation simulation.
Yeah, where you can use it is the students get a copy on their laptop, on their computer, and they can actually do the tests themselves. So rather than memorizing a list of tests from a CCA workbook or a CPA workbook, they're actually doing the tests themselves. Now, it's like if you're learning to drive, if you were learning to drive and you were in a room and you said, well, you get in the car, you switch the engine on and you go down the road, that's fine. But you're actually, it's like getting in the car and actually doing it. So you're actually doing the tasks. So they're very simple tasks because purposefully it's a very small company. So it's not like when KPMG do a multinational, but it's intended to show them what an auditor would do on an audit. So they can actually have a go at doing some of the tests themselves.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of it. So, you know, you can use it as an illustration. And if your class has seen it this year, the same class, you know, your class next year, they won't understand it either. So it's to try to get them to understand it, to understand what an auditor does. And it's just a different way of teaching rather than have them memorize lists from a textbook.
Yeah.
So that's the intention of it.
Yeah.
And I found for my teaching, it has really helped my students. We had less than a 50% pass rate when I took over, and it went up for 90% when we used it. Sorry, go on, what were you going to say? Sorry, go on.
So it means that each student have each account to access the audit simulation.
Yeah, and we tend to put them.
So we buy all the accounts for all students. I mean that in my class we have nearly 100 students in my class. So it means that
you don't have to buy it individually. There's a license fee and it's just for the university. It's not very expensive, but we do charge a fee so we can keep updating it, you know, every year. But we wouldn't write it all again each year. But we do update it. But that's the intention. The intention is that rather than just have them with the textbook memorizing a list of tests, they're actually trying out the tests themselves. Now, I find if I've done something myself, then I remember it better and I understand it, rather than if somebody told me what to do.
Susan,
So
how many universities are using our licensing? How many universities around the world?
24 at the moment.
Most of them are in UK?
Yeah.
All right. So can you, outside UK, can you name, you know, like RMIT in Australia? What else? Can you name a few names?
Yeah, we've had South Africa.
Yes.
We've had Pretoria and University of South Africa as well use it. But everyone else is within the UK. Yeah. So it's just thinking about using it now. Also, we have universities that have links with Malaysia and the Maldives, and I'm not absolutely sure about Vietnam, but the partners use it. So it might be the University of the West of England, their Malaysian partner, and their partners in the Maldives use the audit simulation. Yeah.
Like, for example, like RMIT, but we use for Singapore, right?
Yeah. So it's
because
like
we
that.
have we have Singapore student in Singapore. Yeah.
So it is, sorry.
No, I
It
mean,
is-
you know, I searched around and I found, you know, the products is good value. It's, you know, I think that the license is appropriate and for easy for the university to obtain, because it's charged like per license. It's not like per student or so.
No,
So
it's not.
yeah.
You
So
can
I
have as
think that,
many
you
as you
know,
want.
at the university in Vietnam, especially those big large university, like I don't know how many students you have, but like my cohort, I have like 500 students, right? I mean 500 per semester. They used to be, no, probably they used to be 500, but now I think one semester I have about 100 in Singapore, 200, so about 200 to 300 per semester. So it's 500 a year. Yeah, 500 a year. All right. And I found that, you know, with the budget, it's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very expensive. It's just a fee so we can have like a technician upgrade it. So we do work on it.
Did it take you to develop that, and when was it developed, Susan?
We developed it 9 years ago originally, but it's nothing like the original. Last summer, we filmed it. We had live actors.
Yeah.
We filmed it. So we did quite a lot of work.
Where did you get the funding to get the actor?
From University West of England funded it.
So like a grant, that L&T, Learning and Teaching grant, yeah?
Yeah.
Grant, yes.
And my son, he works for the BBC. He is like a filmmaker, so he produced it for us.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yes. I mean, you know, the animation version is fine for me. Yes. Yeah, the actor is, compared with the animation version and the actor version, did you change the content? How much content did you change, or you just use the, or you just change?
We just added some content. We added some content, yeah. I thought the animation had got a bit old, a bit cheesy.
Yes, I agree. The actor is, you know, is more
better.
It's better. It's more real. That's what I said.
Yeah, more real for the students. So that's the intention of it, to show them what an audit's like and get them to maybe do some of the work themselves. So they're not just memorizing this, they're actually having a go themselves.
But Susan, you left the university. How do you continue to work on the project or the products?
Well, I still work with Glenn on it from Cardiff University, but it's my product, so I can still work on it.
Okay. Yeah. Big harder, yes. Anyone else in the in beside you and Glenn? Anyone else to just you and Glenn? Yeah, I think being honest, the license fee is only how to maintain the salary of the technician, you know, the support. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's so we can keep updating it and keep it current. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone interested in to know? I have to say that it's very reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And we also have an annual competition where different universities compete against one another. They send students. Now, obviously, if you're in Australia or Vietnam, you wouldn't come in person, but you can send a video, and we have a competition to see, you know, we have prize for that.
Susan, if the Vietnam university want to obtain license, is it similar clause like Australia?
Oh, it's the same. Yeah.
You think
same.
it will be the same?
Yeah.
Everything's the same. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to tell them? Do you want to tell them, or you don't know?
Well, the prices, if there are, if it's a very small class, like it's a master's class, and there's only a few students, we charge £500 for 2 years. If it's an undergraduate class with about 100 in or more, we charge £1,000 for 2 years. I don't know what that is in Vietnamese currency.
Yeah, I think now pound is just a little bit higher than American dollar. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Oh, it's cheap then if it's in because our currency.
Hình như bây giờ một bảng Anh, một euro, no, you mean pound or you mean euro? Oh, now sorry, you go back to pound. Yes.
Pounds,
Okay.
yeah, we have pounds in England.
Yeah, không biết là một bảng Anh Việt Nam bao nhiêu tiền, nhưng mà cô nói là 1.000 bảng Anh cho 2 năm, như vậy là 500 bảng Anh một năm, không giới hạn số lượng sinh viên. Còn nếu như mà sinh viên rất là ít, chỉ khoảng vài chục sinh viên thì là 500 cho 2 năm. Nhưng mà chắc chắn là mọi người số lượng sinh viên là trên 100 rồi, thành ra là yeah. Did you mention the 500 is for less than 50 students per
Well,
year?
it's a bit, you know, we decide. If somebody said I have a small class.
Let's just say, you know, more than 100 students definitely is the, you know, is the last one. Yeah. Trên 100 student thì là 500 bảng một năm. Fixed fee. Đức thấy ổn. Yeah, thành ra trường Đức vẫn giữ.
Sau 2 năm thì extend thì cái phí extend
nó vẫn renew như vậy em, chị mới renew. Có cái học kỳ đầu á, cái học kỳ đầu chị có nhờ cô, chị nói cho tao thử, cô cũng dễ thương lắm, cô cũng cho thử. Thực ra cái học kỳ đầu chị đóng tiền đóng có 500 mà cho cũng gần 2 năm, tức là hình như lúc đó 550 hay sao á, tức là nó lỡ cỡ. Thì cô cũng cho mình thử một học kỳ. Nhưng mà mình phải cam kết là mình không có truyền cái đó đi, tức là không phải là một trường mua rồi các bạn sinh viên truyền nhau hoặc là giáo viên truyền nhau. Cái đó mình tôn trọng cái tác quyền á, tại vì thực sự làm ra cái sản phẩm nó rất là tốn kém. Thuê diễn viên đóng mắc lắm các bạn. Susan, I'm just explaining to them that, you know, how reasonable the cost, the license fee is, because in my opinion, because I know my university, we did develop the products like this. It costs like $50,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, definitely at the moment that's what it costs, but we do have a publisher interested in it. But at the moment, that's what it costs. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the publisher may get it, and then you need to get it through the book.
It might go.
It might
but
go
at the
up.
moment, at the moment it is, and we would, even if the publisher did it, we would sort something out for people who've already got it.
Yeah, I think you know, until the contract until the contract. If the contract is still valid, they have to.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't. We wouldn't
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the people we already.
Như vậy cô đã
use.
nói như vậy rồi đó, thì các anh chị, các thầy cô mà có ý định đó thì suy nghĩ đi, tại vì nếu như mà Đức biết chắc là nếu như mà nhà xuất bản mà nó vô á, thì nó sẽ bán theo sách, mà nó bán theo sách thì nó sẽ không có bán license lẻ như cô. Thực ra Đức thấy thương, giống như là các trường họ có cái grant á, rồi họ chỉ muốn có một cái khoản phí để mà cho cái bạn kỹ thuật á, có một bạn kỹ thuật ngồi trực gì đó để hỗ trợ hoặc là để update đó. Mọi người nghĩ có một sản phẩm mấy chục ngàn, bây giờ đi thu có mấy trăm đồng một ấy thì nó cũng giống kiểu thu tiền lẻ. Yeah.
So yeah, so there's no intention to put it up at the moment. So,
no, I'm just trying to explain to them that, you know, in my opinion, right, I know how hard to develop those kind of software in Western world like Australia and UK, because the labor cost is so high. I know we developed one product ourselves and it costs like, you know, more than $50,000, but we got like the grant, you know, like so to do it. So yeah, I found that it's much. I did use once the 30 minutes, the video from what they call the ICA.
yeah, I see.
You know that false assurance is only 30 minutes video, and it cost us like £3,000 or euro that time. And you know, I would not do it again. I didn't, and I found that, you know, my university, unless I really want it, they will pay. But I feel that, you know, it's not. But the audit simulation, I feel it's reasonable, and I was able to convince my manager even just to use as a tool for the assessment task. We have our audit, you know, case study, other things, right? We do have audit software as well, but I still want to keep it as one of the assessment task.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I have just one more question.
Okay.
If I want to get more information about the audit simulations, or if I want to buy it, so who can I contact with?
You email me, you drop me Yellow and then with your email, and then I connect you with Susan. Or Susan, you can put your email address here, Susan. You want me to put your email?
Yeah, you can.
You want to write it, Susan, or you want me to write for you?
Yeah, if they write to you and you send it on, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. Okay. Now. Here we are. So you have, okay, so I can put so this is Susan Whittaker, right? Whittaker 7 at cardiff.ac.uk.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so the license fee, as Susan said, is £1,000 for 2 years for the large cohort, and it can be cheaper for the smaller one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any further questions? Anyone interested? No? All good? All right. I hope that, you know, I'm able to share with you the experience that, you know, myself and my student use in Australia, and just, you know, to share with our college in Vietnam and student in Vietnam. And, you know, being honest, I got nothing. I didn't have any commission from Susan at all. And I just... And
what time is it for you?
It's
is it midnight?
1:20 in the morning. Wow. And you know how hard it is that I have to do the PR, the promotion, sending all the email, the text message to every single teacher. And I got nothing, no return. Anyway,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I just found that, you know, I like it. So yeah, and I like it doesn't mean that my student like it. But anyway, I like it, and I think that all the professionals who review my course, they like it, right? So that's the
Yeah.
most important for you, for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Susan. I
Thank
know
you.
that, you know, I think the license fee you pay for the university, even Susan got nothing, yeah? Do you get anything?
Yeah, no, I get something.
Oh, okay. Like royalty. Because it's like, you know, two separate university now. The product is
Yeah.
still stay with your Bristol, West England.
Yeah, University
Yeah,
West of England.
yeah. We stay with the old university. Okay. And I got nothing. Maybe when you go, when I go UK, you can buy me a coffee.
Yeah, you gotta come over and see us.
Okay.
Maybe I come and see you.
Yeah, or you can come Australia to buy you a
to
coffee.
Australia. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Or we can all ask each other, hey, we go Vietnam for holiday.
Yeah, gosh. Oh, dear.
But it's my pleasure to introduce you to my community in
you.
Vietnam. Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank
it's Knowledge Bridge Network.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And lovely to speak to everyone. And see you then.
Okay. All right. Bye bye, Susan. Bye everyone.
Bye, Susan. Thanks so much.
Bye. Bye.
Rồi, chào mọi người nha. Có ai muốn hỏi gì không?
Không. Cảm ơn cô Đức ạ.
Rồi, chào Vân nha.
Dạ.
Ở đây có bao nhiêu giáo viên?
Chị Đức ơi, cho em hỏi thêm một chút nữa là cái phần mềm này nó có, tại vì em không nghe được từ đầu đến cuối, em nghe cũng hơi on off. Thì
Có
cho em
livestream
hỏi
đó,
là
em về em coi lại. Nhưng mà em cứ hỏi đi, mà có livestream.
Vâng, tức là có cái textbook đi kèm
Không,
nữa đúng không?
không có textbook, không có gì em à. Nó chỉ là thực ra chị có thể show lại cho em coi, nhưng mà thôi em coi livestream. Basically nó là một cái web application, nó có cái demo là một cái công ty, nó có cái tình huống của một cái công ty, nó có những cái video
nghe qua.
nó có những cái video interview. Thì cái mà video interview là cái mà chị thích nhất, tức là nó kiểu nó real và nó có một cái dàn working paper, tức là những cái những cái giống như những cái document đó. Em có làm kiểm toán không?
Em có làm một thời gian trước khi về trường.
Rồi như vậy thì chị nói em là em hiểu rồi đó, tức là đó là cái mà lý do mà chị thích. Chứ còn thực ra ở Úc thì chị có nhiều lắm. Mỗi cái textbook nó đi với một cái case study. Là coi như là những cái case study, những cái câu hỏi, những cái solution thì chị có rất là nhiều, nhưng mà chị lại không có những cái video đó, và cái đó là lý do mà tại sao chị thuyết phục trường để mua, để vẫn giữ cái license đó, để cho các bạn làm bài tập gì thôi, tức là làm một cái gọi là một cái assignment, là cho các bạn làm cái bài tập, chứ chị cũng không dùng trong lớp dạy. Hồi xưa thì chị có dùng, nhưng mà sau đó chị thấy là nó nhiều cái case study quá, thành ra các bạn rối, thành ra là bây giờ không dùng nữa, để cho các bạn tự học. Thì chị cảm thấy là các bạn tự học được thì cái hay hoặc là cái nghệ thuật của cái người giáo viên khi sử dụng cái này là cùng một cái nội dung, nhưng mà em phải làm sao để mỗi cái học kỳ em phải nghĩ ra một cái đề mới. Tại vì em hỏi cùng một cái câu thì hồi nãy bạn nào nói là bây giờ bạn thấy trên internet có rất là nhiều cái Sheridan Case Study Analysis, thì bạn có thể, nếu như bạn tìm được, bạn có thể đưa cho Đức hoặc là bạn đọc thử đi, bạn sẽ thấy nếu như mà nó là từ trường Emory Australia thì chắc chắn là nó là assignment của sinh viên của Đức. Tại vì như cô nói hồi nãy thực ra cũng không có nhiều trường sử dụng, chỉ có bên khối bên Anh, và các trường khác thì họ cũng sử dụng như là class demonstration thôi. Chỉ có riêng là Đức thì Đức sử dụng nó như là một cái assessment. Và các bạn sinh viên thì các bạn nhanh lắm, các bạn truyền tay nhau. Mình vừa nghĩ ra một cái đề là cái học kỳ sau là mình phải nghĩ ra một cái đề mới để mình có thể mình, chứ không thôi là các bạn cứ xào thì nó là một cái mà mình nhưng mà dễ lắm. Thực ra thì nếu như mà giáo viên thì mình sẽ nghĩ ra được cái đề mới thôi, là mình cứ xoay chuyển trong đó, cũng là một câu hỏi, cũng một câu hỏi như trong cái bài, như những cái bài exam bình thường mà mọi người hay lấy, chẳng hạn như là cũng có thể lấy câu hỏi ACCI, nhưng mà bắt sinh viên là nó phải dùng cái tình huống của cái audit simulation này, của cái case sharing AV này để trả lời. Tức là những cái risk hoặc những cái control witnesses hay những cái gì đó là mình cứ bắt các em là các em phải lấy cho nó đúng trong cái này thì đó là cái mình thấy là Đức quên này, để giờ tắt cái translation đi để funny quá. Đâu mất rồi. Đó là cái mà Đức thấy thực ra nó rẻ. Live transcript đâu rồi, disable. Ok, hết rồi phải không? Hết cái transcript, tại mình đang nói tiếng Việt tự dưng transcript vô không funny quá.
Hết.
Đó thì như cổ nói là nếu mà các bạn thực sự mà trường của các bạn, em dạy ở trường nào Dung?
Trường ngoại thương chị ạ.
Rồi ngoại thương thì chắc chắn là có kinh phí. Chị nghĩ là 1.000 bảng là 25 triệu phải không? 25 triệu cho 2 năm thì rơi một năm có 10 mấy triệu chị nghĩ nó trong tầm tay phải không?
Vâng, thế là em cũng nhưng mà vẫn phải có kiểu vẫn phải tờ trình, nói chung là vẫn phải theo đúng quy trình ấy.
Đúng. Em phải có
vẫn
một
phải
cái agreement
đầy đủ giải thích tại sao dùng cái đấy như thế nào, liên quan gì đến bài giảng, vân vân các thứ.
Thì chị có đi hỏi nhiều cái option rồi thì chị mới nói là có những cái option nó rất là đắt, như là cái phim Full Assurance á, hồi xưa chị cũng có mua để chị hình như
nhưng mà lúc mà cô show cái lúc mà cô show màn hình chị bảo
có được miễn phí không hay là vẫn trả?
Giờ thì hình như có miễn phí rồi ạ, còn trước là vẫn trả phí chị ạ.
Vậy hả? Thì cái phim Full Assurance hồi xưa chị mua là 3.000 bảng, mà nó chỉ là một bộ phim thôi, thì cuối cùng chị cũng phải viết một cái scenario, chị phải viết cái assignment, và chị cứ phải viết đổi assignment như vậy để tại vì sinh viên nó nhạy quá đi, nó cứ giống như nó thực ra nó bán luôn tức là nó bán hoặc là nó đổi trên mấy cái web nó đổi bài này nó lấy bài kia, thành ra là mình cứ phải mỗi học kỳ là mình phải đổi đề cùng một cái case.
Tại vì là lúc mà cô show ra mà chị cũng bảo là có cái thanh nó che mất cái đường link ấy. Nên là em nhưng mà cô không
không phải đâu,
cái
cái đó
đấy
là
thì
follow tag tức là chị nghĩ là cái đó là cái nó pop up là nó pop
một cái
nó kêu giống như ví dụ nó nói là this is livestream now rồi, hoặc là những cái dạng như vậy, hoặc là kiểu mà nếu như mà tụi em mà cài Zalo trên máy mà Zalo nó hiện Facebook nó hiện nó pop up lên thì khổ một cái là cô cũng lâu
em không em không có được cái đường link đấy nên là
em không lấy
đang
được
định muốn xem.
Thực ra là chị có đường link nhưng mà chị tôn trọng cô, chị sẽ không chia sẻ. Chị chỉ lấy cái YouTube, tại vì cái YouTube đó thực ra là cái YouTube đó là một cái gọi là private và unlisted thì chị đưa. Nhưng mà còn cái version mới cái version mà after thì nó lại không nó lại không có cóp được ra ngoài, tức là phải cóp nguyên cái link á, thành ra là chị không đưa. Thật lòng mà nói, chị nói nha, thật ra cô cũng không có giống như là bảo mật bản quyền kỹ á, tức là cô một khi cô đã đưa cho chị là cô tin chị á, nhưng mà chị sống ở Úc, chị đã quen với cái việc là mình tôn trọng cái chất xám của cái người làm á. Thành ra là khi mà chị giới thiệu với các bạn Việt Nam thì chị chị không muốn đưa cái link đó. Tại vì thực ra nó rẻ quá, chứ nếu mà nó mắc á, em biết không, nó rẻ mà thì nó và cô có update thằng lần gần đây mà chị mua được qua năm, chị mới renew một lần, thì lần này chị thấy cô update lớn. Một cái update như vậy á, em không biết, em không tưởng tượng nó thuê một actor như vậy á, 1 giờ của tụi nó mấy trăm đô.
Không, em tưởng là nó là một cái đường link để sau đấy nếu mà nó sẽ có một kiểu để giới thiệu sơ bộ qua thôi, sau đấy thì nếu mà cần mua thì sẽ có contact hoặc các thứ ở trên đấy, chứ
Không,
em
hồi
không nói
nãy
là link để mà truy cập vào để sử dụng free.
hồi nãy đó là một cái, hồi nãy chị nghĩ là cô dùng cái cái version chính á, tức là nó ở trên Blackboard á em. Thì khi mà chị có thì chị cũng đưa cho sinh viên của chị luôn. Nói chung là nó chỉ có một cái link thôi và nó có tất cả mọi thứ. Chị không biết cô có bản demo hay không, nhưng mà chị có đưa cho mọi người cái bản YouTube á, là cái bản demo đó. Thì cái bản đó là cái version của semester trước. Nhưng mà tại vì cái đó nó nằm trên YouTube, còn bây giờ sau này cái bản demo, cái video introduction nó lại là nằm trong nó nằm trong cái gì ta, nó nằm trong cái bản chính rồi, tức là nó là một cái video insert chứ nó không còn là một cái link YouTube nữa. Chị nghĩ là cô không có che, không hỏi, cô chỉ bị cái lỗi đó thôi mà. Nói cô không hiểu, thành ra thôi cũng sợ cô bị rối á, rồi thôi chị im lặng luôn, cứ để cái block đó.
Dạ vâng. Em hiểu rồi. Thì có gì em sẽ contact với cô thử xem.
Ok.
Em
Rồi.
chị.
Dạ. Rồi chào các bạn ha. Rồi hẹn các bạn chủ nhật để lên cái academic writing workshop của anh Bạch Quang Vũ nhé. Ok.
WhatsApp bot đã từng này.
Rồi bye bye.
Bye bye chị ạ. Cảm ơn chị.